I will say that. Getting up and moving, on the other hand, yeah, it's still really smooth. That's something that I love about the Silverados is their HDs are really smooth. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Chevy Silverado 2500 LT with two-wheel drive. Pretty interesting. This is the first time I've ever reviewed a HD Silverado with two-wheel drive, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Chevy here in Murray for giving me some time with the truck. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get right into the video. So under the hood, we have the 6.6 liter V8 Duramax that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission known as the Allison. Power outputs 445 horsepower and then 910 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of this LT. So first off, notice that we have the Allison transmission Duramax badge, so you can flex on everyone that you got the diesel, and then you got the venting there at the center. And then you guys can see here with the turn signal indicator, and then we do have halogen lights for the headlights themselves. Got the Chevrolet logo kind of stamped in there with another Chevrolet logo down below if you didn't know it was a Chevy already. And then we've got the tow hooks there at the bottom next to the fog lights. And other than that, there is your view with the front end. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 45mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And aside from that, you guys can see here with the tires itself, and then there's a quick look at the front suspension, and then notice it has the wheelhouse liner, and then we have the little itty-bitty fender flare. Got our 2500 HD badge right there. Got the trailer mirror, and then we have the step here on the side to help accessing the bed, and this is where you fill in the diesel and the DEF. And then you guys can see the B-Fuel leaf springs and all that fun stuff here in the back. And wait for it, there's your full side view. So here's our key fob. We got our unlock, lock, remote start, and then the drop down here for the tailgate. We have a payload capacity of 3,302 pounds and a towing capacity of 14,500 pounds. That's conventional tow rating. This one doesn't have any bed protection or anything like that, but that's obviously easy to add in after the fact. We do have lights here in the bed, which is definitely nice. Then you guys can see the cargo light there at the top. And other than that, I don't think this has the tailgate raise. No, it does not. So it pops down for you, but you'd have to raise it yourself, which, I mean, come on, no big deal. Here is the rest of the rear. So we have the signature Chevy taillights. These ones aren't as nice as what you get in higher end packages like an LTZ or something like that, but they still look good. We also got our LT badge, Silverado badge, and then we have the bumper steps right here, chrome bumper here on the back end with the receiver hitch there at the bottom. And yeah, that's the rest of the rear. Here's the door panel in the back. So this is kind of like basically rubbery for the material use, if that makes sense. And then you got more trim here. It's pretty interesting. And then we have the cloth seats here in the back of the LT. You can see kind of a look at those. And then notice you got the rubber floor mounts down below. And then you've got some USBs with a 12 volt. And then you can see the storage underneath. And other than that, that's all for the back. So see ya. Now here's the door panel at the front. So again, we have padding. This is a little bit nicer though here in the front. And then again, there's a look at the mirror. You've got other controls for the window, and then the adjustments for the mirror, and then you actually get wood trim right here, which is pretty nice. And then we've got these seats here for the front, again, cloth seats all the way down. And then there's your adjustment on the side of the seat. And then here are the pedals down below. And we got the hood latch release. We got a bunch of auxiliary buttons. And then notice we've got the parking brake, our light control, and then we got that for the fog lights and then the cargo light. And then we have our drive mode / trailer tow mode select. Steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's where we'll look before we pop in. So here's our steering wheel in the LT. We've got leather all around the steering wheel. We've got our voice command phone controls for the center stack, heated steering wheel button, and then we got our cruise controls right there, radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. Got our turn signals / windshield wiper stock, and then you have the column shifter with the manual shift function, and it's all for the steering wheel. Here is the center gauge cluster. You guys can see we've got a bunch of analog gauges, and they do have that screen there in the center, which you can scroll through some different bits of information there on the truck. And then we have our trailer tow mode, and then we do have some different drive modes, so we'll pop out of that. And then we've got our normal and then snow and ice for the two drive modes. And that's all for that. Here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, got a backup camera with trajectory lines. You do turn with the steering wheel, and then you can pop it to the trailer tow mode so that it just has a straight line, which makes hooking up to a trailer a little bit easier. And then aside from that, if we go to the rest of the infotainment system, you guys can see response time's great. It comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And I've been over this infotainment system a million times, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but that's that. Analog controls here for the infotainment system and radio. And then you've got our dual zone climate just down below. We do have heated seats for the front, which is definitely nice. Got some good old blank switches. Diesel exhaust brake, that's to drop down the tailgate. Hazard light, stability control, and that drops down all of the windows. And then we've got our trailer brake control, and then you guys can see you've got the 12 volt here, no outlet or anything next to it. And then we have the bench seat center console situation, so it kind of like does both. So notice how it is a center console, but then you can lift this up to be a bench seat as well. So kind of has that dual purpose use. Then got the glove boxes. And then notice they actually do stitching right here, just on that front portion of the dash area. And then finishing things here at the very top, you guys can see you've got a lighter colored headliner. The glass in the rear is fixed, if you guys were wondering. And then we do have the light controls right here, which you just tap to turn on. Pretty simple. So here is our window sticker for this Silverado. Like I said, 2-wheel drive, folks. But anyways, feel free to freeze the frame if you're gonna read all of the options. Not gonna bore you with that if you're not interested. Or that's the standard equipment. This is the options. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, total MSRP $57,920. And I gotta walk a lot. Man, my legs are getting tired after all this walking back in these car reviews. Anyways, let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. So let's start off in this 2-wheel drive pickup truck and just see how things go. So first off, something that I want to mention is you can't really perceive a difference popping into the truck, this versus one that has 4-wheel drive right off the bat. It feels the same as a 4-wheel drive truck. I will say that. Getting up and moving, on the other hand, yeah, it's still really smooth. That's something that I love about the Silverados is their HDs are really smooth. They just have a much better ride quality than what you get with some other, you know, older diesel trucks and then some other manufacturers as well in the heavy duty segment. This is gonna be a little bit of a shorter test drive if you guys were wondering. You know, from an acceleration standpoint, we kind of just barely got on it. Yeah, it's peppy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It gets up and it moves, so acceleration is not a problem. You guys know anything over 850 pound-feet of torque, 800 pound-feet of torque is overkill in my mind, and so this having 910 is more than enough. So, continuing along, yeah, ride quality is great. Don't really notice a difference. So why should you get a 2-wheel drive truck? I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering that, and it really is just going to come down to payload and towing capacity. So the benefit of a 2-wheel drive truck is the fact that you're not going to have all of the components up front to power the front wheels, right? So the truck is going to be lighter. A lighter truck means that you're going to have a higher payload, and a higher payload means that you're going to have a higher towing capacity as well, generally speaking. Not all the time, but generally speaking. And so the benefit of this truck is that you can haul more stuff with it. And so if you're not really going to be using this in a place where it snows a ton, or you're gonna have to go on a bunch of dirt trails or anything, then it's great. If it's just like a work truck that, you know, it's gonna be sunny all day every day like California or something like that, then this is a great truck to get. And also it's less expensive. You know, getting 4-wheel drive costs a little bit more money, and so 2-wheel drive is gonna save you a little bit of money. As I was saying, there are definitely some benefits to getting a 2-wheel drive truck. Like I said, higher towing capacity, higher payload capacity, and a little bit less expensive from a price point perspective. And so let's give this truck, you know, an overall score. So the LT package isn't my personal preferred package with the Silverado. I think the LTZ is like a nice package to go for if it's a personal truck, but this being, you know, kind of more like a work truck setup, the LT makes perfect sense. So I completely understand getting an LT. Now, moving from that, I think this has a good amount of features for being in this level of truck, you know, kind of like the just above entry-level truck segment, basically, interior-wise. The seats feel nice, all of that is great, and I feel like it has a decent amount of features. And then from a driving perspective, it drives like a regular four-wheel drive truck. Like, I can't really perceive a difference. Feels the same. And so I'm gonna have to say this is gonna get a score of 7 out of 10, which I know doesn't sound great, but again, this channel is kind of more, I guess, about like personal vehicles, and this is more of like a work truck, so that's why it doesn't have a higher score. But as a work truck, this is definitely, it's nice. I just wouldn't get this if I was getting this for like, you know, regular personal use. I'd get this if I was, you know, getting it more for a business. Hopefully that makes sense. Now that's gonna sum things up for a video on this 2022 Chevy Silverado 2500 that is two-wheel drive. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Chevy here in Murray for giving me some time with this truck. Check out the inventory link below. I will see all of you in the next video.